Right, we should now be live. Hello, everyone, or those who are watching and not here with, not watching Evo. I think it's going to be a bit quiet for a little bit, but that's fine. We're just going to get on with this. Hello, Cairo. Hello, TJ. You are indeed on time. Right, and today I'm hoping to try to get as much of the Badlands Park finished as possible. Or at least into a position where it's not going to take too many more streams to finish off. The Nodosaurus habitat, there's one habitat left to do, which is the raptor habitat, but I'm not probably going to challenge that today. Hello, Tumbleweed. What I'm going to focus on today is getting kind of the area down here properly sorted out, because it's all been a bit rushed because we didn't have the stuff. But now that I have my Din Hotel and it's fully completed, now we can get on building the rest. I also probably want to put the paleo medical station in as well down here, so yeah, we're just going to basically get started. I'm going to drag those backwards just a bit because this area, much to my annoyance, was not flat when I started putting stuff in. You're struggling with the Azores map. Funnily enough, the Azores map is the one I have another sandbox build on, but it's like a fully modular build, so it's not the sort of thing I can do for streams because it would just be so boring. That's better. What is that? That is a goat. I wonder where that one escaped from. This DLC might be the drama of the year. Fair. Probably. Thing is, I feel like it's a really stupid drama as well because it is so easy to avoid, or it would have been so easy for them to avoid it if they had just been a little smarter. But alas, this is Frontier. They can, on occasion, be a little thick. At least that's my perspective. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different ways they could have approached doing the DLC. Personally, I think reselling content is always bad. I don't ever think there's a good justification for it. However, there are certainly ways of mitigating it. You know, making sure that the creatures had genuine sexual dimorphism would have lessened my annoyance. Making the pack the exact same price as the Wetlands pack as well. Because as Evo said in her video, you know, we've already paid for the work. And one thing I would like to point out that Evo's video from today totally missed is, you know, she didn't touch on the fact that there's been no modeling work to the new female or the new model at all. There's been nothing done to them apart from a little changing to the skins. And that for me is like the real bigger problem here. I don't necessarily mind repaying for stuff if it has been fundamentally changed, if I can see the work that's been put into it, but it hasn't. They've just taken one model in Blender, copy and pasted the file over and called it male and changed the skin. That's it. That is the bigger problem. Kind of like this. This one I kind of like this as being as an alternative to... Yeah, we'll go with this one. And I think I'm going to place it... Okie dokie. Oh, what path is it? What path am I using? Is it that one? No, that one. I think it's this one. Let's double check. Copy path style. Yes, it is. Okay. It seems every DLC for Evolution 3 can't escape having some very divisive thing in it. That was weird. YouTube just hiccuped a bit. Yeah. I think the bigger, sort of more relevant thing is a DLC can often always be a bit controversial. Especially if it's done, you know, badly, so to speak. Badly made DLC is, in some respects, worse than a lot of other problems. Because let's be honest, the only reason why DLC exists is so video game companies can scalp players for more money. That is literally the only reason DLC exists. It's not there for players, it's there for the company. And I do kind of feel that if you are going to sort of demand that players give you more money, I feel like the content has to, you know, kind of meet a bare minimum standard. That's just my perspective. Now then, I want to make sure I can see where this tour track is while we're building around it. It's kind of... Maybe we'll just go with that color. That color is a little more obvious. There we go. And then from here, it's there. To there. This is basically to there. Okay. Hello, Venatosaurus. Is that named after the Venator Star Destroyer or the actual Venatosaurus? Beady Thrower. Whose goat is that? I'm glad I don't 100% know. I think it's escaped potentially from the Dilophosaurus exhibit because they do have a live prey feeder. So I think it has found a way of escaping the Dilophosaurus exhibit. I feel like we should call him Alan. Or is that too on the nose? Okie dokie. And then from here, obviously we need to connect up to this. I think we'll basically stop the path around here. So And then we'll put some amenities down here, the usual stuff. There's going to be another hotel here. I think we do need another. I think we could do with another one of these down here. Or might that fit? Because the paleo veterinary is going there. It makes sense for one of these to be near the raptors, actually. Yeah, we'll put one near the raptors. Right, fencing. Where are my little fences? There they are. Hello, Goofy Goof. On whose Discord, Crystal? Because I didn't put one up there on my Discord. So whose Discord are you referring to? Because if it's Evo's, it doesn't have anything to do with me. Oh, on Frontier's official Evolution 3 Discord. Is that what you're saying? Oh, I've messed it up slightly. What exactly does the poll say? I'm curious. Because Frontier, I would be surprised if Frontier left something that was criticizing them up, to be honest. Okay, we can go one more over. I would, Goofy Goof. In fact, that's the way I think it should be done. I think instead of, pussyfooting about and giving us, drip feeding us one or two here or there and leaving the community constantly wondering whether X and X dinosaur is going to come back and be for free or whether we're going to have to pay for it or anything else, I think they should just release all the DLC species that they know they're gonna want to come back in one DLC pack. Put them all in one DLC pack. price it reasonably. You know, don't be selfish or stupid with the pricing. Price it reasonably. And just let, you know, people get on with it, as it were. I think people would be a lot more accepting of that as you know, a business strategy than they are going to be of them sticking DLC animals into other DLC for the express purposes of reselling it. If they had, you know, if they had genuine sexual dimorphism, had remodels where required, etc., etc., then yeah. But that's the rub, as it were. They've got to actually have the work done to make them warrant being brought again. Yeah, Corey, I kind of agree that I think Karkarodonto needs a remodel. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, if there was a returning base game species that I would have thought, you know, would have gotten a remodel because it desperately needed it, it would have been the Liplorodon, and they haven't changed the Liplorodon at all. They haven't changed the Elasmosaurus at all. So I think it's safe to say the Karkaro will be just the standard Karkaro that we had in Evolution 2. Acceptable to me. We wanted to match that color. Yeah, Big Owl. I'm not a huge fan of modular building myself. I think it's a relatively naff game mechanic, oddly enough. But that is a completely different video for another time. This one was in the wrong place. Yeah, reasonable. Choices are: I strongly dislike this. I am indifferent about this. I'm okay with this. I strongly support this. Wow. Interesting poll results. There we go. Bugger, just a bit short. Campaign isn't. The campaign is done, James. The only bit of the campaign I haven't done is the rebirth bit, and honestly, I just have no desire to continue it, to be honest. And then what we need to do is frames. Well, console building is a lot harder because you just don't have the advantage of a mouse and keyboard. A mouse and keyboard really does help with modular building. So I would suggest that anyone wanting to play a game like this on console, you get yourself a mouse and keyboard you can use with the console, because it really does help. Where is that? Hang on a minute. Okay. I think Evolution 2 was the best in the trilogy because it feels like it's got a good amount of content but not too much, and it's a good middle ground. Hello, Joshua. Yeah. I think Evolution 2 also hit a sweet spot of, like, it genuinely felt like a game that added to Evolution 1, whereas Evolution 3 can't help but feel like it's taken stuff away, because it has, you know, it's cut a bunch of species and stuff. And I don't know. Evolution 3 also just feels too similar to every other modular building game. That is, for me, like, the one defining reason why I think modular building shouldn't have been added to this game. Is that this just feels like every other modular building game. It just feels like Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, and Prehistoric Kingdom. And the only thing that this game has to differentiate it from, say, Prehistoric Kingdom is the fact that it is a Jurassic product. But as I mentioned in my video the other day about when I was speaking about, you know, Evolution's biggest problem is the brand itself. You know, the Jurassic films have fucking sucked lately. So when you have a situation where the brand is doing some really terrible shit, and that inevitably ends up in the game, it's just like, it just doesn't help. How many hours? Let's have a quick look. Okay, well, let's put it into perspective. I've got 1,015 on Jurassic World Evolution 1. 1,453 on Evolution 2. Evolution 3 is already up to 625. So almost 50% the time I have on the other Evolution games, and it's not even a year old. But that's primarily because of the time it takes to do anything. Now this area in here, I'm just going to... I'm just going to put generic vegetation in here. Same as along there. Should probably hand plant some, but just to get the general gist. Now, we do need to get power down here. That is a problem. We do need to have power. These repeater substations really are rubbish. Okay, so power is going to come from here. Which film would you rather have ended the Jurassic franchise, Lost World or Dominion? In that situation, The Lost World. Although I think Jurassic Park 3 is still good. Obviously, it's not, you know... It's still nowhere near the original Jurassic. But I think it's better than Dominion. While we're doing this, I suppose it makes sense to put in paleobotany. Not paleobotany. Paleomedical. That's the one I'm on about. That bit of a strict cliff, and this will make smoother. Right, paleomedical inversion. That's a bit bigger of a building than I thought it was, to be honest. Bit of a steep hill down to that, but that's fine. The bigger issue is the positioning of that. Do I have any other styles of... That's better. So what I kind of want to do is go into this building at some point and like delete this back wall and then have it enter like a little compound that I kind of want to build onto the back. But that's definitely a off-stream thing. I don't want Planet Coaster 2 pathing in Planet Zoo 2 because the pathing in Planet Coaster 2 sucks. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised actually that both the Planet Coaster game and the Planet Zoo games don't use the same pathing system as the Evolution games. I actually think the Evolution game's pathing system is one of the better elements. And I'm very surprised the Planet Coaster doesn't have it as well. Din transformer up here. And repeater station. Why do I have to get it that close? Come on. The repeater stations really are very useless buildings. This park, I wanted to actually use them and experiment and see if they're actually worth having elsewhere. They are rubbish. They really are rubbish. The range on them is just not good enough. Doors should be locked. Yeah, no path to arrival point, blah, blah, blah. You're not a danger to guests. There we go. Everyone's happy. Right. Let's stick in the maintenance facility that we need to have over here. Put it here. Bugger? There we go. Just want to get everything hooked up, really. Right. Hello, Luna. Rebirth was the last Jurassic movie I watched blind. I mean, I'm not someone who really like cares about spoilers. I think these days movies are so predictable that the idea you can have anything spoiled for you is kind of hilarious. Like 9 times out of 10, a film will just do exactly what you think it was going to do. Especially when it comes to the Jurassic films, that's for sure. What's happened there? That is not flat again. Right, we do need some amenities down here. I certainly have a lot of amenities now. But I think we'll stick to the ones I built. So we'll put one there. One there. Oh, I don't have a foodie one, it seems. Or did I just click on the wrong? Did I just click on the wrong? Oh, I did. Oh, I've got this little din one from someone else built, which I quite like. So I'm going to use this one. Okay, let's put this one here. Put this one along the back. And this one. Go there. Did anyone watch the E.T. rerun in Christmas? No. E.T.'s fine, but like, it's not a sort of movie I would like to watch more than once or twice. A bit like, my mum absolutely loves the Back to the Future films, but it's got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to watch these ever again. I've seen them too many times now. They're not films that I would gladly watch on a rewatch. Not like Jurassic Park or some of the better Star Trek movies. Jurassic Park or The Lost World. Jurassic Park is the best. Like, I don't think anyone can argue with that. Jurassic Park is the best of all 7 of the films. And to be honest, I still think Jurassic Park 1 is very definitely not just a good Jurassic movie, but is a bloody good movie in general. Like, it's a film where it almost doesn't have any problems. Like, I'm pretty tough when it comes to my movies, calling out mistakes and plot holes and stuff like that. But Jurassic is one of those that I think it genuinely doesn't have that much that's like problematic about it. Like, the weakest element of Jurassic Park is potentially how they make use of oh shoot, I forgot her name. Lex. Lex kind of feels like she has nothing to do apart from just scream. But that's potentially the weakest element of the Jurassic films. Of the Jurassic Park film, anyway. I prefer to be called a hacker, yeah. What's your favorite game to play that's not a building game? Ah, well, that depends how I'm feeling at the time. War Thunder is my other sort of like prolonged game I will play for sort of short, intense bursts, and then I will have had enough of War Thunder and its community and will just bugger off and play something else. 2 Point Museum is like my go-to cozy game. Star Trek Online is my only MMO. SnowRunner is also one of my sort of cozy, chill out games. Pretty much every year I do a playthrough of the Wolfenstein games, so Old Blood, New Order, and the Colossus. Just I just really like the Wolfenstein games. Sorry, I am still suffering from my asthma a bit, so still a bit chesty, I'm afraid. How would you feel if retro dinosaurs were added as a mutant instead of the D-Rex and Mutadon? I mean, I think very early on in in Evolution 2, I suggested a DLC that added a number of like old-fashioned dinosaur bits. So Crystal Palace Park dinosaur statues and stuff. Just because I think they'd be quite fun. You know, showing where the science has gone to as well. What has happened here? Okay. Now, something I did want to do over here was have like a little seating area over this water. But I'm not massively eager to build one myself, so just gonna duplicate this, which is this one someone built on the workshop, which I've just modified it to be a bit more suitable, and I'm just gonna plop it down here, more or less. And then kind of edit it, because I think we could do with making it a little wider. So let's make it just a smidge wider. Move this. Yep. What did you think of Evo's video today, Archie? You mean the one where she's talking about the controversy? Look, I think it's safe to say that me and Evo have very different perspectives, and our perspectives come from very different places. She has more of an insider knowledge than I do, while at the same time, you know, for the last God knows how many years, I've been interested in video game development and watching people who know about video game development, and, you know, been watching people who are critical of where the industry has gone. We come from very different perspectives. She ultimately is. I'm not going to say that she's optimistic to a fault. Evo is the sort of person who tries to find a silver lining in everything, which I think is I don't think it's a particularly wrong thing to do. I think it's actually, given the way that the world is at the moment, I think it's a very fair thing to do, to you know, to look at everything with a silver lining. I'm just not this sort of person. I'm someone who is more cynical by default. And I don't think there's anything wrong with either sort of position. We have very different perspectives. You know, for her, Jurassic World Evolution 3 is not a game, it's a job. Or rather, it's a job first, a game second. For me, YouTube is a hobby. So it's I don't have to worry about that. I'm also not part of Frontier's, creators that they bother to look at. So I don't have to be thinking about being careful to not restrain myself, and I don't want it to make it sound like Evo is restraining herself. I just think it's important to note that if you don't have skin in the game, as it were, it's just, it's a very different perspective. And I'm not going to criticize Evo for her perspective in the same way that she doesn't criticize me for mine. Do I think the bigger content creators for Frontier games, especially those that followed Evolution 1 and then subsequently 2 and 3, do I think they should have done more? Maybe. But that is a incredibly generalized sort of point, which can't be very easily passed on. So me and Evo, we get on really well, even though we have very, very, very differing perspectives. And in a way, those differing perspectives are a good thing. It means we have some quite interesting discussions, and I think at the end of the day, I don't want to just be friends with people who agree with me about everything. I think too many people these days, I mean, you can see this on Reddit as well. Too many people surround themselves with echo chambers or just people who agree with them about everything. And it means they end up very blinkered in their viewpoints. Look at the MAGA phenomenon in America, for example. You're a teacher. I am a trained teacher. I have gone through teacher training. I am not teaching because, unfortunately, my subject is just not in very high demand, and teaching positions are few and far between, and in my area there are basically none. But I have gone through the whole process of teacher training, so I consider myself a teacher, even if I'm not teaching at present. That's why I do my occasional 10 things you might not know about videos, which are, I take a dinosaur from, or a animal from the evolution games and go over some things people might not know about them. My way of trying to make some educational content as well. Although I admit it has been a while since I've been able to do one of those, because at the moment the Walking with Dinosaurs retrospective review is taking up the time. I need to get that script finished as a matter of urgency. Okay, that can go to there. When's your next din build video? Well, oddly enough, I don't think there's going to be another din build, because I have all of the din structures I kind of want. That din hotel was like where is it? This was like the last building I needed for this particular park. So basically, there are no other din buildings I want to build. Perhaps the only thing I might tackle is making an aviary hatchery and a lagoon hatchery. The next building I do want to build is a building inspired by something I passed in, I think it was in Ireland actually, when me and Dane went over to Northern Ireland. It was like this big kind of almost aircraft wing shaped building with a glass frontage, which was being used as like a train depot. And I was like, oh, that would be really cool as building in Evolution 3. So I want to try and create that. But obviously, waiting for the new glass, I think, is going to be a good idea for that one. Because obviously... it'll be better with some of the new transparent glass panels we're getting, and a few other bits and bobs, so... I also wasn't aware people actually liked the videos of me building stuff. I mean, I've been trying to find a way to make modular building videos, because I have discovered that most people don't actually like watching them, but, if people do want to see me building stuff more, then I'm more than happy to do so. They're actually quite easy videos to do as well, which makes them quite positive for me. Like, as someone who has to make a lot of videos, ones that are fairly easy to make and edit are appreciated. So. I think that's good enough. Just a nice little waterfall side little seating area. Can you name one of the dinosaurs Thor? That was my pet lizard's name. Let's name one of our male Sugai Mimus Thor. Since I had to replace both Sugos. We are getting babies, right? Yes, we are. We do have babies. Good. I really love the hotel one from design to finish build. They're really inspiring. Well, Archie, in that case, then I shall, I shall do more of them. What is your thoughts on Megatherium coming to Prehistoric Kingdom? I wasn't aware Megatherium was coming to Prehistoric Kingdom. That is news to me. I think it'll be a cool addition. Honestly. Need something here, but not that big. What's going on with the water there? Another dead dinosaur was kicked the bucket now. Oh, one of the Nodosaurus. Oh. More building videos, yes please. Oh well, I will make sure to, once we have all that new transparent glass, to get started on that. It's gonna be a particularly busy build as well, because it's gonna have an interior. So it'll be a bit more like a museum building. What's your opinion on Evolution 3 as a whole now that it's been out? Do I think Evolution 3 is worth its current asking price? No. I don't think it's going to be worth its current asking price until at least all of the cut base game species are back. And unfortunately, the thing about this game, fundamentally, is if you are not a modular builder, if you're not that interested in the fake baby system and the male and female models, which most of the time are worthless, and if you're not interested in the very few new species, and let's be fair, there are very few new species in this game. Like, if you look beyond the... What do you got? You got the Loki Ceratops, which I think is a good Ceratopsian, but we have lots of Ceratopsians. The Psittacosaurus and Protoceratops, they're good species to have, but they're not overwhelmingly amazing. The Guanlong is nice. But, like, if you look beyond that, honestly, I still think Jurassic World Evolution 2 beats this game out. The modular building is just not... I think the modular building system is not the de facto sort of... it's not the de facto element of the game that makes it better. It's just an additional sort of tedious thing to put on top of a game for those who want to... I'm getting tongue twisted. I'm a cynical individual. And my cynicism says the reason we have modular building in this game is not because the people at Frontier thought it was a good thing to do. The reason we have modular building in this game is because they wanted to attract players from Planet Coaster and predominantly Planet Zoo. And one of the big reasons why people from Planet Zoo were not playing this game was because of the lack of modular building. So they put the modular building into this game solely to attract those players. That is, in my opinion, the key de facto reason for it. And I think you can see that being the de facto reason for it in the way that the modular building has actually been implemented in this game, in that it hasn't really been implemented in a very good way, because it's been implemented in the quickest way that they could get away with, because they didn't really think it was the feature that they wanted to focus on. It was the feature they put in order to make people from Planet Zoo come and buy the game. I'm pretty sure a lot of people wanted to... Some, you know, Big Al, I will agree with you. There were a lot of other players that did ask for modular building. But in general, I do think the primary reason it was added was to get people from Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster to buy the game. That is, I think, the leading reason it was done. Yes, other people did probably want modular building. But for me, one of the distinct advantages, one of the few things that Planet Zoo the Evolution 1 and Evolution 2, one of the few advantages it had over Prehistoric Kingdom and all the others was that it was not a modular building game. That you didn't have to spend 9 billion hours building. You could spend a couple of days and get a good park. I think that was one of its big advantages, and I think it's thrown that advantage away. You don't have to use the building system because you have enough prefabs. The problem with prefab... So this was actually one of the common rebuttals that people used to say to me when I said, you know, the modular building system makes the game worse. And they were like, yeah, but you could just go and use the prefabs. Okay, yeah, but honestly, we don't have prefabs for everything. There's actually a lot of stuff we don't have prefabs for. And then they go, well, yeah, well, you can just go onto the workshop. Okay, but a lot of the time it's not as simple as just taking a building off the workshop. Because a lot of the time you'll have to modify it to fit it in properly, or the building will have problems. And you're still having to use the modular building system to put foliage in and to put rocks in. And in actual fact, a lot of the prefabs are also broken. This one in particular, the DIN maintenance building is actually broken. They if you wall them in expecting them to use this opening to get out, they won't, because there is a problem with the way the hitboxes are detected with the roofing pieces. So you actually have to make the roofing pieces and everything inside here non-collision in order to get them to leave through this particular building. And again, you're only going to be able to fix that if you interact with the modular building system. Can we agree the design's I've got a lot better? I mean, I guess. But in a way, I kind of... There is this metaphor I use for the Evolution games. I'm sure other people have heard it. The Evolution 1 was a really big piece of bread, and you were given not enough butter to spread on the bread. So a lot of it was without butter, because there wasn't enough content in Evolution 1. Evolution 1 was very much a beta that they sold for full price. Evolution 2 was the same piece of bread, because the mechanics didn't change very much, but you got more butter. So it felt more feature complete. But the foundations of the game, the bread, they were identical. Evolution 3 is the same piece of bread, but now you've been given a huge heaping mass of butter. And you've also been given some milk so that you can make your own butter. But it's still all being piled on top of this very small piece of bland bread. And like I said the other day when dealing with people who are like, yeah, but 5 dinosaurs in a DLC is more dinosaur than 3, so it's better. No, it just isn't, because more animals won't make the game better. Oh look, my hotel gets lit up now. I think this looks pretty damn good in the dark. Yeah, more dinosaurs, more animals does not make the game better. How would you change the thread? Well, I mean, fundamentally, firstly, you need to put more mechanics into the game. We need more mechanical depth. The management mechanics have got to be there. And I know a lot of just the pure sandbox builders are going to roll their eyes at me saying we need the management mechanics. But I'm sorry, this is a park management game. The management mechanics should be there. If you don't like management mechanics, don't play park management games. I'm sorry. That might be a very rude way of putting it. But if you don't like park management games, don't fucking play a park management game. The fact is, the game should not become dumbed down just because a particular crowd of players can't handle something a bit more challenging than sandbox. The management mechanics should be there. And most of them are really basic, you know. I'm not asking for ridiculous levels of management mechanics. A lot of them are very basic management mechanics that practically every game has of this genre. And Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo already has. Stuff like basic economic controls for the park. Things like consequences for stuff going wrong that actually have an impact to the park. A proper tech tree system where you have some control of it back. Give the players more agency in the management. Get rid of the sort of mobile phone title gameplay where it's just like, put down a ranger building and click on it and then click on another building and it will go and do it. No, it needs to be more than that. We need to have a whole mechanical system behind that. Make us hire staff. Make staff capable of being killed. So that we actually give a damn when rangers go into enclosures and we get that warning that rangers are under attack. Right now it means nothing. But it would be more meaningful if we have just hired that particular ranger and then he goes off on his first trip into an enclosure and he gets killed. Consequences for our actions. Consequences for bad planning. Dinosaur enrichment absolutely should be there. Dinosaur behavior. Cleanliness. Dealing with security. These are all very basic management mechanics that are either in Frontier games already or have been in other park management games. Those are just very basic. I mean, for fuck's sake, can we be given the ability to decide how much it costs for people to come into the park? Can we be given the option of how much we charge people for the hotels? Like, we don't even have the very basics of economic controls in this park, in this park building game. Making money is almost a completely worthless gameplay mechanic because you don't need to worry about it. Prehistoric Kingdom is the superior game. No, I don't agree with that. Prehistoric Kingdom is not the superior game. It has the capacity to be the superior game in a couple of years' time. But right now, it's still in desperate need of more development. You know, we've got to have a tutorial back. We've got to have a campaign. We've got to have, I think, some more creatures. The game desperately needs optimization. Like, there's no reason at all why my rigs should struggle to run it. It desperately needs that optimization. And all that will come in time. I have more faith that the Prehistoric Kingdom people will improve their game to a point where I can say, yes, this is a very good game. Then I do Frontier doing enough to this game where I can say, yes, this is worth an inflated price tag for. I trust the PK developers a lot more than I trust Frontier. And that's simply because Frontier ruined any trust I had for them with Evolution 1. Like, the reason I brought Evolution 1 was because I had been a player of Planet Coaster. How would you have done the building system? Archie, you answered the question. I would have simply used the amenity system from Evolution 2 as a baseline for Evolution 3. And I would have just said, every single building, you have those 6 or 7 categories you can run through. And you can just modify every single building that way. And I would probably have some partial modular building, not full-on modular building, but I would have partial modular building. So, you know, rocks and foliage. I would still have, like, you can embed them into the ground. You can clip stuff into the ground, whatever. And I would allow people to clip buildings into each other if they so wish. And, you know, decorative placeable props and stuff I would also have, you know, on the same sort of system. But the fundamental sort of basic buildings, just give the amenity modification system to. Okay, down here is going to be the raptor habitat. Now, I want the raptor habitat to have a bit of a particular style to it. I want it to feel like it's a dangerous place. So we are going to have, obviously, their own security. But I kind of want to just lay out where I think the enclosure will be. I'm thinking I might try and get something that looks a bit geometric in shape. So one wall here, one wall there, obviously wall along the back. Is that going to be big enough? Because the raptors are surprisingly fussy, I've noticed. Maybe we'll give them... this. How big is that compared to this? It is bigger. I think they should be happy with that. Maybe if we... Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. What Cenozoic species would I like to see in Prehistoric Kingdom? I mean, one of my favorite Cenozoic animals of all time is Andrewsarchus. I would love to see an Andrewsarchus. Stick this in here. Just because. Maybe since this is raptors, we'll go for something that feels a little bit more... We'll stick to my glorious hatchery. Right, fencing for the raptor. Oh, how are they going to see the raptors? I think we'll go with a viewing dome. Actually, if we're going to go with a viewing dome, we could probably give them a little bit more space. So if we're going to use a viewing dome, we can put the whole thing in fencing. Where is... God, I can't wait for the collections. I think this might be one dinosaur that calls upon our laser walls, to be honest. Is that the side? Which side is the dinosaur side? It doesn't matter. Okay. Laser walls it is. Why the fuck do you need laser fences for a dinosaur enclosure? Because it's raptors, and raptors are dangerous. Plus, laser walls are cool. Do I have a... These are all... I don't have just like a generic concrete one. I kind of just wanted something to concrete in this side. But we'll stick to this, I guess. Hello, Polsky. Oh, what Lego have you been building? Realize there's going to be bloody raptors up there. So we better make these a little thicker. The new Mosasaurus set, right? I've told myself I'm not allowed to buy myself any more Lego until I've built the Titanic, which is something I've been putting off for a while because I want to record myself building it so I can do like a time lapse. But it's going to be the sort of thing I need like a solid week of like... I'm going to need like a solid week of time to do it. And then after that, it's probably the Star Trek Enterprise set. And maybe the Jurassic Park T-Rex. Something similar. I assume you mean, Chad, about Tim Haynes coming out in favor of AI. I think it's disappointing. As someone who faced criticism on Walking with Dinosaurs for his creative choices, for him to then more or less turn around and reject creativity, I think is particularly disappointing. But it doesn't surprise me. Again, a cynical person might suggest that people who want to make shows have to show a particular willingness to support AI rather than, you know, come out as completely against AI and therefore end up with a bunch of companies who want to use AI turning around going, oh, well, we're not going to use this guy because he's anti-AI. We'll go with somebody else. So that's what a cynical person like me might say about that. But I do think it's incredibly disappointing. But, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. I live in hope that the AI bubble is going to burst soon, just because AI is now, like, cannibalizing itself. And it's not making money as near as... It's not making people as much money as they thought it would. So I'm hoping that it's going to start, you know, dying off. At least for creative purposes, like video game design and stuff. Because let's not forget that the AI can and has already like completely revolutionized the medical field. There's like AIs that are now capable of finding cancer stuff, and there are genuine things AIs can revolutionize, but replacing human creativity should never be one of those things. Now, in here somewhere should be... I built a new version of the hotel. Now the big stuff on the back. So you just got like the little bit of the hotel. Just in case, because like the first one I built, it ended up a lot bigger than I thought it was going to. So slightly smaller version I think was necessary. I've just realized we're gonna need like a gate and shit, aren't we? Dinosaur threat. The gates are shut. How are these two dinosaur threats? The gates are shut. The walls are in place. I'm pretty sure they can't climb up here. Yeah, I didn't think so. Bizarre game. I love the Ballad of Big Al. One of the things I love about the Ballad of Big Al is its soundtrack. I love the Ballad of Big Al soundtrack. I think it's really, really cool. No, so they've got impossible terrain all around it. So I think it was just the game being a bit strange. We do need to get some power down here, though.
Added a new viewing gallery, ready for you to observe our magnificent animals.
All the glows. Fletcher, would you have preferred if Prehistoric Planet was in Walking with Dinosaurs over its current style? I don't think it's a matter of I think the way Walking with Dinosaurs did its storytelling was better. That's probably the best way that I can
Ladies and gentlemen, for your comfort,
phrase it.
we've increased the hotel capacity of the park.
I do think it was better. But Prehistoric Planet wasn't trying to do the same. Prehistoric Planet was trying to more heavily go for that David Attenborough style. Whereas Walking with Dinosaurs wasn't. It was aping the style, but it was also trying to do its own thing. I think both methods have their advantages and disadvantages. I think I prefer the Walking with Dinosaurs style just simply because one of my criticisms of Prehistoric Planet was that we didn't really get much time with each animal, and as a result it felt that some animals were sort of not misused, but wasted, like the Dinocaris, for example, which had literally one couple of minute sequence. I don't think it was even a couple of minutes. I think Walking with Dinosaurs also did a better job of making you feel empathetic for the animals because you were with them for a prolonged period of time.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Walking with Dinosaurs had a much better representation of nature.
to the park.
I get what you mean with that, actually. Walking with Dinosaurs wasn't scared to show the natural world being a bit brutal. You know, the realities of the world that these animals lived in. Whereas I definitely think Prehistoric Planet far too often censored its violence in order to make it family friendly. Which I think is a... Which I think it wasn't necessary. The sort of Disneyfication of the prehistoric world. I don't think that was necessary. Red Dead Redemption is not a game I'm particularly interested in. I have played the first one, but the first one just didn't really grab me. I don't have particular fondness for Western anything. Like, I'm not a big fan of Western movies, and I'm just not a big fan of American Western as a setting for stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Nodosaurus to the park.
Oh, another Nodosaurus has been born.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Struthiomimus to the park.
And another Struthi. I respect your opinion, but you've broken my heart. Oh, I'm sorry. Viewing Dome Carnival. And we're going to plonk it. I think we're going to plonk it here. And the entrance... place here. I don't like that entrance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised that our weather forecasts predict an incoming sandstorm.
I suppose I'm going to have to build a DIN entrance building for my... dunes.
Ladies and gentlemen, our weather forecast has been updated. The sandstorm threat level has been raised.
The sandstorm threat level has been raised.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have added a new viewing gallery, ready for you to observe our magnificent animals.
It's not a viewing gallery, it's a viewing dome. Can't even get the fucking wording right, can they? I am also in the UK, Big Al.
Please shield your
Oh my lord.
Take cover until the
It has
sandstorm
gotten very, very, very dark. This is all quite nicely lit. Oh, fuck.
Attention personnel. Did power
You know, I was saying about things being nicely lit.
available personnel, please respond.
I love the fact that even with the storm defense buildings on, these buildings don't get any storm defense. It's such a fucking ripoff. Is everyone from UK? No, actually, a surprisingly small quantity of subs to this channel are from the UK. Most of the subs are from America. You're from Egypt, Chad. Well, that's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I have a low accommodation rating right now, game, because all the hotels don't have any power because of the sandstorm you've just flung at us.
Attention personnel. We have detected power outages across the site. Available personnel, please respond. Ladies and gentlemen, the sandstorm has now passed. Please resume your normal activity.
You can do with that one. You can deal with that one down there. You can come and do that one. Oh. Huh. Uh-oh. You should... probably do something about it. Making a run for it. Oh dear. And he's a gone. Closest relative of Proceratosaurus in this game is Y Tyrannus. Or U Tyrannus? U Tyrannus? I don't know why I keep mispronouncing it. Okay, so I think essentially the park is basically ready for like final steps, really. Apart from making the Velociraptor enclosure, which means we need to give them like I'm gonna use this rock here to like create a cave area for them to rest in, and they obviously will have the viewing dome. This is the one I've made specifically for carnivores. It has salt licks and carnivore meats and hanging feeder and just a tire thing to practice hunting on. This dome also comes in probably easier to go through this way. This dome also comes in a herbivore style with like another rope swing and foliage and water, and comes in a sauropod version. Hello, Alex. Directing is for degenerative energy. Well, luckily Gareth Edwards isn't making the next Jurassic World film, so at least that won't be full of AI. Oh, really? Are you kidding? The one that escaped died of old age? That's ironic. Reserve empty. Yeah, but... No teams assigned. Ah! Teams assigned to all of those. I mean... What do you mean, unreachable by vehicle? Why? There's nothing in the way. Let me guess. Oh, now they can suddenly get to it, you see? You put a rock up above to create an archway, and you have to turn the collision off every single time you load into the map because they won't fucking sort that shit out. Fucking Frontier. Dippy's died. Don't get spat on, everybody. And it's reducing guest approval, but it's only reducing guest approval because the ranger hasn't gone to have a look at it yet. Although I have just realized there's no way of the guests viewing the Suchomimus. Which is a bit of a flaw, really. I shall have to do something about that. Nowhere to really put one of these logs that looks natural. Oh, I guess. It's in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have added a new viewing gallery, ready for you to observe our magnificent animals.
Yeah, kind of works. I might put in, I mean, really, I would put it over here. But you can't put them in water. Which I think is preposterous. What is the problem? Not enough restrooms and not enough shelters. Oh yeah, but that doesn't fucking matter. We're in the process of beautifying the park. It doesn't matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, our restroom is now open to use for whenever nature calls.
Honestly, it does make me laugh that we have to put stuff like bathrooms and that in. Like, we don't have bathrooms in any of these buildings.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Proceratosaurus to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, our restroom is now open to use for whenever nature calls.
A restroom, not our restroom. It's not like it's the only one. Oh, another dinosaur has kicked the bucket. It's our Fletcher. Well, folks, it is 11 o'clock now, so I'm going to leave this here. We've got a reasonable amount of work done. The park is pretty much laid out how it's going to be when it's finished, so really it's just a matter of finishing up on stuff now, which won't be too difficult. Probably a couple more streams and maybe a couple of a little bit of off-stream work. Next week it's going to be back to our standard thing. So, Fallout won't be streaming on Wednesday. So maybe actually on Wednesday I'll do something, and then we'll have Friday and Sunday, and there'll be a video next week as well. But yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been quite a busy stream today, so thanks for that. Don't forget to like the stream because it helps with the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing. But I will see you guys next week. Until then, stay safe and good night.